Well, Vladimir Putin, he is a political pariah to some, but not to China's President Xi Jinping. In fact, Xi is traveling to Moscow next week to meet with the Russian president as a friend. Now, this will be Xi's first trip to Russia in nearly 4 years. The Kremlin says the two leaders will discuss the conflict in Ukraine as well as military cooperation. The visit is seen as a clear sign of support for Putin by Xi. China's attention to Russia is clear. Its focus on relations with Ukraine, it's not being neglected either. Today, China's new foreign minister, who took office back in December, made his first telephone call to his Ukrainian counterpart. Chinese state media said that Beijing urged Kyiv to pursue talks with Moscow, saying that Beijing is concerned about the war spinning out of control. Later, Ukraine's foreign minister tweeted that the talks touched on the importance of the principle of territorial integrity. And today, the Chinese Foreign Ministry in Beijing emphasized that China is working towards bringing about an end to this conflict.
President Xi Jinping's visit to Russia is for peace. Preserving world peace and promoting common development have always been China's foreign policy goals. On the Ukraine issue, China always stands on the side of peace and dialogue and on the right side of history. China's position paper on the political settlement of the Ukraine crisis, which was released not long ago, reiterated the core ideas of President Xi. He put forward 4 principles, made 3 observations on Ukraine, encapsulating China's just position on the Ukraine issue. China's position boils down to supporting peace talks.
Well, for more now, I'm joined by Aaron Friedberg. He is an expert on East Asia security and a professor of politics and international affairs at Princeton University. Professor, it's good to have you with us this evening. Xi Jinping's visit to Moscow is seen as being incredibly important for both leaders. Xi just secured a 3rd term unchallenged. Talk to me about the power that he represents as he travels to Russia next week.
Well, if there was any doubt about it before, that doubt was removed by the Party Congress in October and by the recent announcements of new appointments. Xi is completely in charge. He has no opposition. He is driving the whole show. Any policy that China pursues is Xi's policy. That's been true, I think, for quite some time, but it's even more clearly true today.
The UK has urged Xi Jinping to use the meeting to put pressure on Vladimir Putin to withdraw from Ukraine. I'm wondering, is Xi even interested in ending this war? I mean, there are Western intelligence reports claiming Beijing is considering providing, lethal weapons to Russia to use in Ukraine.
I don't think there's any chance that Xi would be pressuring Putin to withdraw from Ukraine. He certainly doesn't want to see the war spiral out of control and escalate, but he definitely doesn't want to see his closest ally, Putin, defeated. All the talk of peace and the possibility of negotiations or China's role as a broker is just that, talk. The real significance of this trip, I think, is that Xi Jinping is visiting yet again with his closest ally, reasserting his commitment to Russia and to their close strategic ties. That's what really matters.
With that in mind, we know that Xi is also expected to talk to Ukrainian President Zelensky, and Xi is casting himself or attempting to show himself as being this new global statesman, maybe even a peace broker. I mean, what do we know about his vision for peace in Ukraine? Or is it just window dressing for a way to get more influence in the region?
I don't think that he does have a vision for peace. I mean, as I said, I don't think he wants the war to blow up, but he also doesn't want Russia to be defeated. My best guess is that his preferred outcome of all of this is that it would become a frozen conflict, as it was after 2014, maybe at a higher level of continuing struggle between Russia and Ukraine. That has the advantage of preoccupying the West, preoccupying the United States, preventing it from focusing more of its energy and attention on China and on the Indo-Pacific. If he can play some role in achieving that outcome, I think he would be pleased. Another thing to say about this is I believe that one of his aims in putting himself forward or allowing himself to appear to be willing to play the role of broker, is that it creates at least the possibility of driving some wedges between the United States and its Western allies, and maybe among its European allies who have varying views about the desirability of achieving a ceasefire and negotiated settlement. That's always part of what she is interested in. And I think he also wants to give some substance to China's claims of being a true global player, and one that's willing to play the role of a neutral peacemaker.
I think I want to pick up on your point about trying to distract the West in Ukraine, and so that the West does not focus so much on the Indo-Pacific region. That would be in Xi Jinping's interest, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm just thinking this week there was a lot of talk about this new U.S. Nuclear sub deal with Australia. The UK is involved in that. So you've got this new military alliance, if you will, forming to patrol the waters there around the Pacific. Certainly, Xi Jinping would like to see that unity dissipate, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. And just overall, I think he would like to see, as I mentioned, U.S. focus and energy and attention and money devoted more to Europe than to Asia. At this point, the United States has increased its spending on European security. It's increased the presence of its forces in Europe. That may not go on forever, but it has not increased its defense budget by a significant amount in a sustained way. And that means that some of this is going to come out of spending and preparation in the Asia Pacific. That's in China's interest. And I don't think he created this crisis. I think there are risks for China in this conflict, but clearly there are also benefits, and that is the most important one.
Professor Friedberg, we appreciate your time and your valuable analysis tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're here in Germany. Public demands for immediate peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. They can earn you some strong blowback. That is what happened to former Munich Security Conference Chairman Wolfgang Ischinger. Well, we spoke with Ischinger and we asked him if his position is informed by worry about waning political support for Ukraine in the U.S. among Republicans.
Well, look, I'm not especially worried at this moment, because I think the Biden administration is a safe bank for Ukraine. But there is, of course, going to be an election in 2024 that's only a year and a half away, and we don't know what the outcome of that will be, which is why, given the voices in the Republican Party, given the voices in Europe, in Germany and elsewhere, from the German left, but also from the German far right, that raise the exact same questions as Mr. DeSantis raises in Florida. Is it really in our interest to support Ukraine that much? This is exactly why I believe that starting the kind of brainstorming preparatory process that I outlined in my recent article would be immensely helpful, because we could, the Biden administration, the Scholz administration in Germany, we can respond to these increasingly critical questions from those who are opposed to weapons deliveries to Ukraine. We can tell them, look, we have a process. And as soon as there is a willingness and a readiness by Russia to start a serious negotiation ending this war, we're going to be well prepared. We have all the options worked out.